This module has taught me about the vibrancy of the deaf community and the struggle with collision of disability versus deaf culture. Chapter 11 focused on the solutions for healthy living. The deaf community is immersed with social activities, athletics, politics, self-help, spiritualism, and large community gatherings. The topic I enjoyed most was learning about the diversity of deaf clubs available. The Texas School for the Deaf is a rich environment that offers several clubs. Today, deaf clubs are not fixed to a certain location due to the evolution of technology. Now deaf clubs meet at restaurants, bars, coffee houses, and many other establishments. I was surprised that there are specific deaf clubs for things like fishing, playing poker, bowling, and swimming. I think this shows the collectivism of the deaf community in that the deaf strive to meet with other deaf people and have deaf connections. I also thought it was neat how there are sport leagues that provide deaf individuals the opportunity to compete in national and international tournaments. I think that the Deaf Olympics is a wonderful opportunity that give deaf athletes a similar experience of the Hearing Olympics. I can see how valuable this experience would be, as it would give deaf individuals a chance to converse with deaf people from other nationalities. Chapter 12 focused on the conflict of deaf culture and disability. Hearing people see deafness as a disability because the majority of people are hearing and think that deaf people are impaired. Deafness has been referred to as a disability for years just because the person cannot hear. Deaf people hate being called disabled because they are not intellectually impaired or unable to take care of themselves. Deaf people have been stuck in special education programs in mainstream schools simply because they cannot hear. I think this is so wrong and shows the lack of understanding of hearing people on the abilities of the deaf. Leadership in the deaf community is a struggle, as most hearing people still hold biases about deafness. There are more deaf individuals involved in leadership now than in the past, and there's much more diversity, including deaf Black, deaf woman, and deaf queer. Political advocacy has improved greatly for the deaf community. Before, political information was not accessible for deaf people. I was so shocked that deaf women were not allowed to vote in elections until after the 1930s or 40s. I'm disappointed in hearing people's lack of awareness of thinking about if political information was accessible to all US citizens. I'm glad that there are ASL resources that make civil rights information available to all. I'm very glad that I have been made aware of yet another aspect of information being inaccessible for the deaf. I will now happily add captions to social media political posts so everyone can have equal access. I hope to continue to spread awareness about the deaf community and become a better advocate. Thank you.